जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೆಗೆ
হাইদ্রাবাদ 50 এক্সপ্রেস পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो.
Table toppers RR registered their 8th win. They're now at 16 points and they've almost got that little faint queue next to them. It's only mathematical, but they're almost through and we are only in April. An incredible game there. Sanju Samson, the captain, coming in 71 of 33. Dhruv Jurel, 52 not out of 34. This shows what a quality team is because when they were slightly in some sort of trouble, they got off to a good start, but then they lost a few quick wickets, and then there was the captain who came in and put his hand up, and then there was Dhruv Jurel who did the salute. We all know why he does the salute. So all in all, Rajasthan looking solid. We are back at Cricbuzz Live. I am Saiyami Kher. I have Joyda and Simon with me. Simon, just incredible. I asked you in the comm box that boarding pass, there was a fight there because Rahul put his hand up, and now Sanju Samson says, 1 second, I'm here as well.
Anything you can do, I can do better. And slightly faster as well in Sanju's case. Look, we talked about it. If he stayed, they were every chance. They got to the sort of stage where we talked about in the comm box and just finished it off in style. Really pleased for Dhruv Jurel. He's had a tough time this season. Really hasn't had huge opportunities, but when he hasn't capitalised on them. But Samson was simply superb. That's how you play as a captain. That's how you finish a game off as a captain. And I mean, they've done it with ease in the end. Very, very comfortable. And the Lucknow bowlers didn't have a lot of answers at that back half. I mean, they were in a pretty good position. 60 for 1 and then 78 for 3 when Rahul Parag got out. So you look at it and you think they were in the game for maybe the first 10 overs, but then just played out of it completely.
But like Simon said, Joyda, Dhruv Jurel as well, the support that he's given his captain, he's going to be mighty proud.
If you look at, I just take you back 2 seasons to Gujarat Titans. So when they won their first title, what was unique about it is that in their first 7 Man of the Match awards, there were 7 different players. And if you look at this team, if you're looking at this Rajasthan team, who was the one guy who hadn't put up his hand so far? The only guy who hadn't put up his hand so far was Dhruv Jurel, and he's come into form. And that tells you exactly what an assortment of weapons they have. Jaiswal can finish with a century. Josh Butler's won them games. Rahul Parag has been fantastic. Sanju Samson's been the most consistent, actually, if you look at it. And then you have Hetmaya, you have Dhruv Jurel now coming to the party. And that means that this is just such a complete team. It's such a pleasure to watch.
You know, Simon, Dhruv Jurel has spoken about how Dhoni has been his idol, and he said the biggest learning he's got from Dhoni is to be there and finish off games. So his idol is definitely going to be very pleased with what Dhruv Jurel's done today.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll be pleased as well because it's not often, I mean, it's his first half century in this tournament, you know, and well into a career, to be honest. 52 not out. All you can do is be there, get the job done. Alongside Sanju, that was a terrific partnership when they just didn't put anyone else under any pressure. And I think that was the key. Played the boundary shots really well. They ran between the wickets terrifically. And that's exactly what the combination is required. He doesn't, I mean, he's got power, but he doesn't have a big power game. But he just times the ball really, really well. And that was a skillful innings tonight, I thought. So, yeah, all bodes well moving forward for Rajasthan. And it was interesting when Gilly was here, I'm not sure whether you were on or whether it was GK, asked him about, do you have to start losing a game in tournament play? And he said, no, you just keep winning. There's no point. People might be looking at it going, oh, when are they going to have their trip up? When are they? You don't have to have a trip up. You keep playing the way you are and with confidence, and the way that Rajasthan are playing at the moment, they are high on confidence. Bowling attacks working, and the batters are doing the job even when they get into a little bit of trouble.
Well, Joyda, the scarred Indian fan will remember something that happened on the 19th of November because we did exactly that, didn't we? So almost for Rajasthan Royal fans, they'll be feeling like, okay, maybe just lose 1-2 games so you can, get that momentum towards.
They've lost their one, and the guy who said it he won 3 World Cups.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
they lost a game in 99, the next lost a game in
Yes.
2011. So they know what it's about. But no, more than that, I'll tell you what really stood out for me in this chase. The complete lack of tension. The run rate at the maximum went up to 10.5, 11. They never looked under pressure. They never looked tense. Suddenly they'll hit a couple of boundaries. And they just did it so beautifully. That 12.6 acceleration was so beautifully done. Because you remember, they started off, both of them were playing singles.
Yes.
They were sort of getting the strike together, getting a wicket had just fallen. They were just trying to make sure that they stayed there for a bit, got their bearings, and just look how smoothly they accelerated. And that's one thing. The other thing you have to look at and turn around and say is that what was Lucknow thinking about their bowling? And some of the choices of bowling were interesting, puzzling to say the least. You would say their lead spinner is Ravi Bishnoi. Bishnoi comes in for 1 over the 16th. Okay, you've thrown Amit Mishra the ball before that. So if you look at that card, there are 7 bowlers out there, but the choice of how the bowlers were used is something that I've still not got my head around, not wrapped my head around. I don't know what they were thinking or what they were trying to do at this point in time.
But Joyda, you spoke about how RR just made it look like they were just so calm and cool and composed about this. At no point did it look like they were under any stress. They were very cool. So why don't we have a look at the Carrier room air conditioner coolest moment of the match. Personally, for me, I have always been a big Sanju Samson fan. So to see this captain come back, he doesn't make a fuss about anything because he just comes and, like Joyda said, is so calm and composed, had everything under control, and was just beautiful to watch today, Simon.
Yeah, superb. We talked long and hard about Sanju's first half of tournaments and then the second half of the tournament, but he seems to have got that right. The last couple of years has been better. This year he's exploding, the back half and getting the job done as a skipper. I'm going to have to stick with Trent Boult, though, going 4-4 out. Quinton de Kock, right at the start, start of the game. We talk about your best bowlers up front. You get hit for 2 fours and then go back again. It was a toss-up between that or the Sandeep Sharma ball that bowled Marcus Stoinis for me. Looking from a bowling point of view, I think the Sandeep ball was terrific as well to Stoinis. So I'm sort of 50-50 on those two. But there was plenty of very cool, calm composure shown by Rajasthan.
Joyda, for you, does the batter come in, or because Simon the bowler has spoken?
Simon's going with bowlers. I've decided to go with bowlers. I've decided to go with someone slightly closer to my age. Amit Mishra coming in to bowl.
Was very
but
cool.
Amit Mishra's celebration was the best.
Josie.
Turning around, showing this thing 99 and his name out there, showing the name Mishra there. I thought it was so cool. And as he's told Harsha that, if the impact sub is the best thing to ever happen, he plans to stick around for a while if the impact sub goes on. He still has value, he still can do it, and sometimes these stories are fantastic,
Yes.
Been there from the 2008, again, one of the veterans, a legitimate tournament great.
I will have to agree with you there. That celebration was very, very cool. Let's have a look at what you all had to say and see what you all have written in for the Carrier coolest moment. Aryan says, a cool and composed knock from the skipper Sanju Samson. Sure was cool, Aryan. Next up, we've got Vikas says, keeping 1 over in hand of Ashwin, Sanju, going for Sandeep in the 16th over and getting Nikki P is unexpected.
Good call.
Interesting. That's an interesting one, Vikas. Stan Jacob Sam says, Chahal's face after Mishra getting his wicket this season was gold. Great work, cameraman. Yeah, that was one cool celebration. I think Joyda has also said that it's his coolest moment. It's just so cool to see Amit Mishra get a wicket, isn't it? It's just such a romantic story, and it all
exactly. And all these are lovely underdog stories. Players who are not the fittest or players who don't look like athletes, still there, still competing, still wily, still can get wickets. It was a really important wicket.
Yes.
At that stage in the game, Riyan Parag is a batter in form. So yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, and I think that's so much of what this tournament is all about. So much of this tournament is young bloods coming in, doing something, veterans coming back for a comeback. It doesn't happen with a national team because you have a set of players who are very limited. You cannot have Amit Mishra-like stories for the national team. And that's what makes the IPL so special.
Well, you all have heard it. These were our carrier room air conditioner coolest moment of the match. Joyda spoke about someone who was calm and composed, and I said I've always been a fan of him. But Sanju Samson, we know is fighting and putting his hand up, but he's just been very consistent, like you said, because he was, going on in the previous few seasons. He's never really had a 500 plus score, Sanju Samson, and this season he's, I think, already past 400 if I'm not wrong, and the strike rate there today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about it, the strike rate again today. And he never looks like he's in a rush. I think it's the one thing you notice about Sanju is he doesn't look rushed, he doesn't look hurried, plays all the bowling very, very well. I love the way he hits the ball down the ground, but if the quicks come on, he can play those square of the wicket shots. He doesn't tend to play a lot of scoops and ramps very often. He's more classical, but there's not many better timers of the ball when in full flow. I think he and Ruturaj are probably the two most classical looking top order right-handed batters from an Indian point of view. And he's growing and growing into the captaincy role. I see him speaking his mind a lot more and being very honest about when things, which very rarely do they go wrong for Rajasthan, but when they do, he's very clear about, we haven't done this well or we didn't do that well. So I think he is that type of leader as well in the change room. I think he's got a lot of respect in and around the group. And you don't give a guy like, Kumar Sangakkara, the powers that be, wouldn't be giving him the captaincy at the time they did if they didn't believe he had that ability and that value and that respect to lead that franchise. So, yeah, fair play to him. He's doing a terrific job at the moment.
You talk about that respect, Joyda. I think it was the last match when Jaiswal got that 100. You just saw Samson put his shoulder around Jaiswal, the young boy, and these are just small things that stand out, right? He's not trying very hard, but he just gets that respect from the players, almost very Dhoni-like. It's like the players genuinely respect him.
Yeah, and look, it's difficult because he's so young. It's difficult to realize that he's been around for 12, 13 years in this level of the game. In 2012, he was in the KKR squad. So that's 13 years, of playing cricket at this level. And that's what I'm saying, that therefore, though he's young, they knew what they were doing when they gave it to him. And I believe this is a mutually, it worked for both. I think it's worked really well for Rajasthan, but it's worked for him also. It's worked for his batting. It's worked for his temperament. And there was one other thing I want to talk about, his batting, which is so underrated, which is the fact that very often when Sanju Samson's batting, he's hitting the ball, and you're thinking that's a 1 or a 2 in the boundary, and it's going for a 4. Because he just seems to know the gaps. He doesn't seem to be hitting it that hard. And you're saying, okay, that's a 1. And then you're suddenly seeing this fielder scrambling and the ball going for 4. And that's just pure timing, pure placement. He's got the gift.
He's sure got the gift, but today what Lucknow didn't have is maybe the way just Rahul was rotating his bowlers. We spoke about this, and Ravi Bishnoi coming in, I think at the 16th or 17th overs when he came in, 16th over. You think he would have done things differently, Simon? Yeah,
I think so. We talked in the combox about squeezing with Krunal, who bowled beautifully again. It was probably the time when Krunal was going at one end, probably the time to get Bishnoi in around that 11, 12, 13 over mark at least, if not earlier. Stoinis only 1 over for 3 and didn't go back to him again. So it sometimes can be an issue when you've got too many options, and that's why I go back to Rajasthan. They have 5 options and they use all 5 for 4 overs, whereas there's a lot of options in this lineup, especially when you bring your impact player in Mishra. And sometimes too many options can make it a little bit too confusing for the captain. When Stoinis is 1 over, picked up a crucial wicket in that over, and Bishnoi got 1 over, people might say, well, he went for 16, why would he bowl him? But it was the 16th over. If he'd come in on the back of Krunal Pandya's first or second over, when he was bowling really tightly, things might have been different. So I think they probably did certainly miss a trick in that space. Also, Bishnoi was their highest wicket taker last season. So it almost felt like maybe he's not fully fit, which is why he's not bowling. No. But I don't think that was the case.
Exactly. He's their lead spinner. I'm okay with Amit Mishra getting an over. But Amit Mishra, Krunal Pandya, a certain amount of pressure is being exerted. Why are you letting that pressure off? Somebody like a Stoinis, the way he's bowling, he's swinging it this way and that. if the keeper is standing up, if Rahul is standing up, rooted to the crease, you can't run at him, he would have been effective as well. So somewhere, I think exactly what he's saying, that sometimes it's important not to have choices and use them in a way where you're saying that, okay, your responsibility is to deliver these 4 overs. It doesn't matter how you do it. You get your 4 overs across no matter what happens. And I was perplexed by how they used Bishnoi, who was their highest wicket taker last year.
And also there was John T. Rhodes at the boundary line getting the catches, but not the fielders in the ground. And he'd be furious with that because, yes, they were tough catches. The second one, especially to Yash Thakur. But the first one, maybe things could have been different. You need to get those catches.
Yeah, look, I think he didn't need to jump. I don't think. He jumped too far, and then in the end the ball sort of hit the hands, but didn't actually need to jump that much at all. It's one that you would think, 9 times out of 10 you should be taking. Second one, 2 out of 10 stick probably, with a one-handed dive to the left. But the first one breaks the partnership. All of a sudden, Lucknow start to feel like they're back in the game a little bit. So he'll be disappointed, John T. I mean, he showed them how to do it there at one stage on the boundary with one that just came scooting to him, took a catch, did a bit of fielding as well. Those are the things that are non-negotiables, especially from young bowlers. If you don't offer much with the bat, you have to have 2 relevant skills in the game. So if you're just bowling and your fielding's not really up to the mark, and that might sound harsh on him, it's not the only one, but you've got to make sure that you're taking those catches, I think.
All right, so it was a Super Saturday and we had 2 games today. So let's quickly have a look at the points table and see what happened with both the games and what the movement has been. Rajasthan didn't move from that number 1 slot there. They've gone on to 16 with a very strong net run rate. Joyda, Lucknow at 4 in spite of that loss. Mumbai at 9 now. So first talking about Rajasthan, they're doing everything right. They, like Gilly said the other day, they can just keep winning and go for the title. But anything at all that Rajasthan need to keep in mind, or they need to be a little cautious about, or just go about things the way they are?
I think they're doing what good teams do, looking at it one match at a time and not worrying about what's going to happen after that. That's all you do. What happens, I think one of the things that you see, and it's very apparent out there when you look at them also, is it's a very happy camp. It's a relaxed camp.
Yes.
Everyone is relaxed. Everyone's happy. So if they lose also, it'll be fine. They'll move on. They don't need to lose. They're firing on all cylinders. They don't need to experiment. They just need to keep going right now.
Simon, the tough one for you now. What does Mumbai do?
For bat first, don't bowl first in an afternoon game.
Left arm TV bowler.
Yeah,
Left arm
find a left-arm
Kiwi, but we
Kiwi
can't
bowler.
do anything about it in this season, can we now? Mumbai, well, clearly it is do or die. They have to win everything that they play.
I mean, the good thing, and as I said earlier, the good thing for all those other teams is that Rajasthan won. Because now the second place team is still on 10, and I think it's the 8th place team that's on 6th, or the 9th place. Mumbai are 9th?
Yes.
And they're on 6 points. There are only 2 wins behind the team sitting in second.
Wow. Okay. That's really opened up stuff then.
Correct. So that's what I said. A win for Rajasthan means that all those other teams on probably 8 in particular, and the couple on 6 that are still hopeful, that's the best thing that could have happened for them. Because 2 wins and they're on 10 points. So that was the best result for the table for everyone below Lucknow, or everyone around about Lucknow, except for them today. So that's one thing. Look, as I say, don't bowl first in afternoon games, first and foremost. That's one lesson to be taken out of today. Apart from that, they've got to find a way to get that bowling unit right outside of Bumrah. He didn't have his best day, but was still pretty good today. But the other seamers are going around the park, and everyone they've tried has been dispatched. I mean, Luke Wood coming in for Kutsir was dispatched around the park. There was some incredible hitting. Not easy bowling conditions, I get that. But then losing those 3 wickets up front it was always going to be too difficult for them. So they now must win every game. If they don't win every game, they are not going to qualify.
Well, Joyda, they are playing Lucknow next, so both the losing teams
2
play.
Lucknow, 2 Kolkata, 1 Sunrisers Hyderabad. So, look, it all depends on how... It actually sometimes it suits them in a way, in the sense that if they get across the line with one team, say Kolkata once, they'll fancy their chances a second time. And similarly with Lucknow, that okay, this suits me. But right now it's desperation street. I mean, they just have to... And they have the squad to do it. I mean, their biggest issue is the fact that they haven't got it all together. And they're just looking like a side who's all over the place, right? Even now, the body language is not great. I mean, the people who I'm seeing good body language from are people like Piyush Chawla, who's like the veteran. He's still going there and doing his stuff. He's the one who's not getting faced. And I think him and Bumrah, a lot of the others, they're just not looking the part at this point in time.
Gilly called it fake hustle, which was a great term, and you do see a little bit of it. Point you made, Joy, about 2 Lucknow, 2 Kolkata. They look at those games and they're both sitting on 10 points. So not only do you help your chances, you decrease theirs.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the key. When you're playing teams that are below you, wins a win. When you're playing teams that are 2nd and 4th on the table,
you're stopping them
on 10 points. You're stopping them going further, as well as enhancing your opportunities as well. So there's 4 crucial games. They stop those guys getting 4 points, and they pick up 4 points. All of a sudden, they are back in the hunt. But they must win every game.
Well, Jodha, I think, Simon, you mentioned the other day is that, Mumbai is a team which most of the top table people wouldn't want to play because on the given day, they're so strong on paper that they can just take the game away from you.
Exactly. They should have been, their teams, they can blow you away with the batting, which is why it makes it even more inexplicable why they were bowling first out here. They're a team that literally should be able to say 280, okay, game over. Now do whatever you have to. And then you're going to bat 16 overs because 4 of those are Bumrahs. Leave those aside. But that's what we thought Mumbai would be on the park this year. It isn't.
Well, it isn't, but tomorrow is a Sunday and it's going to be a super Sunday because it's going to be a double header. First up is going to be Bengaluru versus Gujarat. This match is happening in Ahmedabad. It's match number 45. Gujarat really is playing for it all, and Bengaluru is going in very happy because it almost feels like they have no pressure on them now. We saw that in the last match. So they're going in happy, just wanting to play good cricket, have some good fun. But Gujarat has to play for a victory.
Yeah, well, they can join that 10-point table. They can jump up a couple of spots. Their net run rate, it'll get them might probably still get them to 6th only, above Chennai. But it's must-win time for Gujarat as well, I think. And the last team you want to be playing is a Bengaluru team who really don't have anything to play for. And they can play with that freedom. They were far too good for the Sunrisers, and in an encounter where you just looked at it and you thought that's how you kind of think they should be playing. That's how you want them to play. So, for Gujarat, it's must-win territory. For Bengaluru, it's just let's play the spoilers. Let's continue to play spoilers again.
Joyda, for Gujarat, do you think there's been too much pressure on Gill and, he's not really been able to go and get that big one?
Yeah, and their problem is that they also, Hardik has hurt both teams.
True.
He's not performed for Mumbai and he's left a gaping hole which Gujarat is finding very difficult to fill. So they tried. First they went with Omar Zai. He didn't work. They got rid of him. They went for a specialist bowler. Now they've gone back to Omar Zai again. They're trying desperately to plug that hole in the batting. They've got such a big batting hole. The bowling hole is there with Shami not there. So look, the fact that they are 4 and 5 with this team is actually quite creditable given the fact that they're missing so many weapons. But Simon's absolutely right. There is pressure on them because they still have a chance of qualifying, whereas Bangalore is going to play with total freedom. And the difference, you just see the difference when you are playing with total freedom. Say Will Jacks, the way he's playing. And if a Virat feels that, okay, there's nothing to do this year, I'll have to look at next year, he'll just go for it.
Just correct you on one point, Joy. He didn't hurt 2 teams, he hurt 3. Because Bengaluru had no idea how to play green either at the time. So that swap trade didn't work either for them. He basically hurt 3 teams in one. Good effort. Strike 3, brother, you're out.
It's brilliant.
Well done, Simon,
brilliant.
well
Just
done.
3 teams, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's have a look at Gujarat's squad if we can. I just want to understand, maybe should they try getting Wade in for Ridhiman Saha? We've spoken about how the balance changes things around, get Rashid up the order, or just change things around, or is that too desperate?
I think Saha did the job for them in the last game, to be fair to him. So I would leave him there. The one that they could leave out is Omar Zai. And maybe try and get Wade or Williamson in as a batter.
Okay.
and see how they go from that front. Omarzai has sort of gone. He hasn't got the runs. They bought him to be a genuine all-rounder. He's bowled okay, but he hasn't got the runs for them. So maybe just take a bowler, take the all-rounder out, get by with your 5 bowlers, bring a local impact player in as your bowling sub, a Kartik Tyagi, someone along those lines, and get by with Williamson or with Matthew Wade. I think that would be the better way to go for me, rather than leaving Saha out. I'd leave Omarzai out and get another overseas batter in.
All right, Joy.
Yeah, I totally agree with him. You're going to likely, Gujarat is also a large ground.
Yeah.
So you're likely to see 3 spinners operating, Sai Kishore also operating. So if you do that, you have 3 spinners. Riddhiman's a great keeper to spin.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference, okay? So keep him there. He also got runs in the last match. For me also, Omarzai goes out. I would just swap him straight for a batter. And at this point in time, I'd probably go for Wade over Williamson, just because Wade starts a bit faster than Williamson does. That's all. And they need a little bit more acceleration. See, one of their other problems is that Miller's not giving them as much.
Yes.
So definitely, those were the only changes I'd think of, and just Indian bowler, play another Indian bowler.
Yeah, unless there's can we just have the team back one more time? Unless there's an option to bring in a local batter.
You can bring in Vijay Shankar.
I mean, Abhinav
Manohar, yeah.
maybe get him in and leave Omarzai out and get Spencer Johnson
Interesting.
into the mix. If they wanted to go that way, I guess they could do that.
Yeah.
A Josh Little, Spencer Johnson type way, and bring in Abhinav Manohar or Vijay Shankar into that role. That'd be the only other way. But I'd probably prefer the overseas batter. But they could also go with the overseas bowler and bring in a local batter.
And for Bengaluru then, do you think Karan Sharma, Swapnil get in? Or like just have fun, change things around? What do you think Bengaluru can do?
Oh, I don't think they change now. I mean, they've won after a month. I'm not sure they changed things. It was a tidy
Red
performance.
letter day.
Yeah, tidy performance the other day. So I think just leave it as it was.
Stick to what they played.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the Bengaluru squad. But like Simon's saying, stick to the same squad when you finally got a victory in. Don't change things around.
I think though the only thing I'd look at is, honestly, because Gujarat doesn't bat very deep, I wouldn't mind seeing a Reece play in instead of a Lockie, and saying, can we take wickets up front?
Yeah.
Because I mean they'll be vulnerable up front because they don't have the longest batting order, and we've been talking about their batting fragility.
Yes.
So I'd like to see a fast bowler who attacks up front rather than somebody who attacks in the middle.
That's a good point.
Okay, Simon and Joyda, your players to watch out for.
Oh, goodness me. For RCB, seeing as how we just talked about him briefly, Cameron Green.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Needs, if he can fire at the back end, he might just be held on to.
And
Yeah, for me, Rajat Patidar. I mean, I just think, again, he's a super player of spin, okay? And if you look at the other side, you're likely to face 10 to 12 overs of spin between Noor, Rashid and Sai Kishore. So he's a critical player because remember, even now, Virat tends to get bogged down against spin. And so he's the key to unlocking the spin mystery for me.
not a bad choice at all. 3 half centuries in the last 4 games. So for Gujarat then.
I'm hoping that Riddhiman Saha's last innings just kicks on for the back half of the tournament for them. He's still an absolutely brilliant wicketkeeper, and he still is required behind the stumps because they've got the quality of Noor and Rashid, and if Sai Kishore has to bowl. So hopefully he gets runs again at the top, and his keeping will never ever let you down.
Yes.
I'll go with his partner Shubman because I feel that his batting sets the tone for their entire innings. And if he does well, it's very important for them. So, yeah.
All right, then, like I said, it's a Super Sunday. There's a second game as well, and Chennai take on Hyderabad. This is happening in Chennai, match number 46. First up and straight up, Simon Joyda. You'll see Chennai producing one of those low, slow turning tracks for tomorrow's game after what Bengaluru did to Hyderabad.
I've forgotten. I think it's called Lombard Street. Have you ever seen Lombard Street
Yes,
in
I
San
have.
Francisco?
The one with the zigzag, yes.
This. That's the kind of track you'll see. Ball should be turning every way.
Yeah.
But look, I think it's an interesting situation because CSK has not looked. They've looked underwhelming, honestly, in this tournament, and they've looked as if because Dhoni bats too late. Jadeja is not doing it for them. What is most important is normally they'd get something from Moeen Ali.
Yes.
And somewhere in this batting order, Ambati Raidu has not been replaced. They're not getting runs from somebody else. With Conway not there, it's created a huge situation for them. So I think somebody needs to get runs for them. And Rachindra has not really, after the first, started with a, bright spark, he hasn't done much for them. So I think they're looking underwhelming at this point in time. And remember, Chennai never won with their fast bowling.
Yes.
And one of the other issues has been, and in fact, Harsha was speaking to Deepak Chahar, just the ball is not swinging. And without the ball swinging, Deepak has not been as effective. Therefore, he's not getting wickets up front. All of this puts pressure on the batters as well.
We'll have a look at the table ones because if Chennai does win tomorrow, maybe they go to 3. Will that happen? And if Hyderabad win, they go to 2.
Yeah, Chennai with the run rate that they have, they'll need to do a little bit to cross Hyderabad. But Hyderabad will lose as well. Therefore, it works both ways. So they could make up on Hyderabad and go to 3. But yeah, it'll require to be a decent win then, not a close win.
Just looking through that batting lineup from the last game, and I'm trying to figure out, Daryl Mitchell has been just okay for them. He hasn't really provided that spark at 3 or 4 when he's played there. So I'm just wondering if it is a little bit more spin friendly, get Theekshana in for Mitchell and get Moeen Ali up to the top of the order, bat him at 3.
Okay.
Bat Moeen Ali at 3, which he's done very well at different times, and then you can use Jadeja if you want to still at 4, Shivam Dubey. They've got that option if they want to. They usually try and bat quite deep, but with the form that Ruturaj is in, they might not need all of that batting. That may be one of their options, particularly if it's going to turn. I don't see them dropping Patirana or the Fizz, even though the Fizz go for 51 in his last outing, but he's been pretty good up until that.
Yeah.
But if they try to get Theekshana into the mixer, as far as, that spin bowling comes on, then they've probably got to leave Daryl Mitchell out and maybe move Moeen up to 3.
That makes sense. You're just not used to so many changes that Chennai
we're not.
does.
We're not.
But maybe it could be.
Yeah, they've
tomorrow.
usually got their combinations sorted, haven't they? And they don't seem to have clicked yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen Ravindra hasn't given it for them either.
No.
I think that was a player that they were really counting on to give them starts and give them something with the ball.
Well, for Hyderabad, they that one off day when their batters didn't do what they've been doing all season, it resulted in a loss. But it was just one of those off days because through the season, their batters have been getting them home. Can we expect any changes for Hyderabad tomorrow?
Well, I don't know. The one thing from a Chennai point of view you want to do is make sure that these guys bat second and chase, which is a tough one to do in Chennai because it gets very dewy and gets very wet down there. So it's difficult to bowl second. I think you just put that last game down to a bad outing, again with the bat. When they bat first, they bat brilliantly. When they bat second, they've been struggling a little bit. They haven't been anywhere near as good. So I don't know about changes. Do they want to try and get Marco Jansen in? Aiden Markram hasn't had the best of seasons. Probably hasn't been to his high standards. Can they shuffle that batting order around, get everybody up a little bit, and bring Jansen in as an all-rounder at 7, possibly?
Possible.
Outside of that, I don't think, they could play Phillips ahead of Markram.
Yeah.
Does the same thing.
Yes.
Does the same thing. He
can use him with the ball.
Could bat at 4 for them. They just need to find probably someone else for number 3 because I don't know that Klaasen or Phillips want to bat at 3. They'd probably prefer 4 and 5 in the order. So if they could find someone to bat at 3, maybe, a brave promotion for someone and leave Markram out and bring Phillips into that middle order, he'd probably give you a better bowling option.
Yes.
As well as offer you a bit more power.
Well, with a track that could be expected tomorrow, you would want more spinners in your side.
Yeah, look, fact is Markram also bowls off.
Yes.
So he's also an option there for you. Look, it all depends on how they feel about this unit. Some captains have a tendency to say that it's going well, these are set players, let's go with it. So, I mean, Simon's doing is just looking at options, saying that if you were to make a change, what would you do? Because normally one loss and you're going to have losses. And as we have discussed before, this is a team that plays a high risk, high reward game. Okay, so you're going to lose games like this. You're going to lose completely, lose by 40 runs, 50 runs. But that doesn't then it's not going to force them to change the way they play the game because they're not going to win it any other way. So their days, you're going to blow them, they're going to blow everyone away. And I think they'll stick to that. That's all I believe. I believe that's the philosophy they're going in with, no matter what the pitch is, no matter what the conditions are.
Okay, your players to watch out for then?
I mean, I would like to say Abhishek Sharma here do well because he's a talented player of spin as well, and he can also bowl. And if the ball turns as we expect it to, I think he's going to be vital for them.
Shahbaz Ahmed, he's done some good things for them. He's hit the ball really well at the back end of the innings, more than useful bowler. He might have a big role to play tomorrow.
And for Chennai?
Yeah, and for Chennai, I'd say that I think it's important that if they play Rachin Ravindra, I think it's important for their team, for their balance, that he comes to the party.
Correct.
The Fizz to bounce back. Yeah.
It's a bowler.
Yeah.
He doesn't even choose a Kiwi over a bowler, does he?
I can't. He doesn't have too many bad days. That surface suits him. Just expect him to bounce back.
Okay, we didn't do our applause for Simon. I almost forgot. When you spoke about bouncing back, I suddenly remembered who bounced back very well today.
Exactly. I was almost going to get it.
No.
And then he gets two.
Surya getting out and a dot.
Yeah.
That's what he got.
Full credit to our executive producer.
Yeah, he called it.
Before the last two deliveries were bowled, he said wicket and a dot.
Okay, between you and me, these are not things that we discuss too much on air because, who knows who's watching us and saying, what is our producer doing? Does he know what's happening in the match?
No, our producer is just...
Our producer just predicts very well.
He's just an ace prediction game winner. That's what he is.
He's got a terrific cricketing mind.
That's what he is. But I would like to see our leaderboard because I want to see if GK is still up there. Oh, no.
Oh.
How does that happen? Okay, then
Three
this
losses
wasn't.
and a win each.
It suddenly feels like it wasn't a successful day for us.
So I must have climbed up a little bit because I'm 25% today. So I've gone up maybe 0.6, 0.7. I've gone above you, haven't I? You were above me.
No,
you were above me when we first looked at it, I think. So I've snuck just above you.
This looks like my high school report card.
Well, all I can hope for is that GK does not get the answers in correctly tomorrow. The predictions.
I'll keep an eye on him tomorrow. I'll try and steer him in the wrong direction for you.
Please do that, Simon.
I'll try
please do that. I want to see. I didn't get the answers correct to your question, Joyda, but I'm sure there are a whole lot of people who did.
In fact, today I think was a really tough question.
Tricky one, you said.
Really tricky.
It was a tricky one. Let's have a look at it.
Which current Indian cricketer's first wicket for a franchise team was Mohammad Hafiz? Now, the reason I say it's tricky is you look at Mohammad Hafiz, Pakistan, okay? You say, when did they play? 2008. Okay. So you start looking at players who played in 2008 whose first wicket can it be? But that's not the case. The case is that in 2012, 13, 14, you had Champions League cricket.
Correct.
And Pakistan teams played in Champions League cricket. One of them was the Lahore Lions. Lions.
Not loins. Joy.
No, there's this great...
It's getting towards that time of night.
There's this great Hindi film villain called Ajit who used to say, Shara Seher mujhe loin ke naam se jante hain. So it comes from there. So the Lahore Lions and the player is Kuldeep Yadav.
Oh. I'm sure there have people who...
This is a tough one. So
but I'm sure people have figured it out, right?
Well done.
Let's have a look at who the winner is.
Do we not have a winner today?
Do we not have a winner? Is that possible?
Oh, well done, Preetham.
Well done, Preetham. Let's clap for Preetham.
That's a good one. That's a really, really good one because it's not an easy one. You've got to figure out that it's not IPL play, it's Champions League play. Who could it be? And work it out that way.
Preetham, as you see, Joyda is very, very impressed. So well done. We hope to see your name coming in more often. because like you said, it was a tricky one. Today has been a tricky day for us at our prediction game. I'm not in here tomorrow, but thank you very much for making this Super Saturday even more super. Joyda and Simon come in tomorrow.
Yes.
Both of you all are in tomorrow. So I would humbly request you all to make sure that I'm safe and you all just make GK focus on the food and the ordering and you know what he's very good at. Let's bring him down on that points table.
We will do. And I must say huge thanks to the Delhi side and to Lizard Williams.
Oh, yes.
Because otherwise I
Thank
wouldn't be
you.
here.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have had
Nobody's as
Simon.
grateful as I am.
And
because
I
the two of us
yes,
carry the show off.
we would have really missed you. So, Delhi, thank you very much for listening to Simon. And everyone else keeps listening to Cricbuzz. So, thank you very much. We will be seeing you all tomorrow for the double header. So, don't forget to join in tomorrow at 3 p.m. That's all we have time for right now because it's that time where Lions is happening. So, it's time to go sleep now. So, we will see you all tomorrow at 3 p.m. Good night and goodbye.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
হায়দ্রাবাদ 50 এক্সপ্রেস পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें